Welcome, fellow last placers, to another episode of LPF Debrief, where Chris and I talk about comic books, movies, and TV shows. And we are going to be talking about the latter today, because today we are talking about Halo, the TV show done by Paramount Plus, starring some, I'm not going to say it because it's too early and that would be a spoiler, wouldn't it? Like early. So I'm not going to say it. But yeah, we're going to talk about episode 1, and we're going to keep doing this weekly like we always do with the debrief. This one kind of snuck up on me. I'm not even going to lie. Chris had to remind me on Tuesday, and he was like, the Halo show's coming out on Tuesday. And I was like, you are absolutely right. It is. And then I was so focused on Moon Knight coming out next week that I had forgot this was coming
I
out.
forgot about Moon Knight, and I was like, oh
Mhm.
god dang.
Yeah, and then I mean the following week, and then Morbius is coming out. So
Yeah.
whatever, we're gonna have a jam-packed week coming up for you guys. So stick around with us. I don't even have to do the promotion for the giveaway anymore because we already gave away the mouse. But if you like the content, please like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff so we can hit 200 and then just keep going on from there. We're figuring out some stuff that we want to do. So
And spoilers ahead, even though the internet spoiled the crap out of this show already.
Honestly, I didn't see any.
Really?
Shockingly enough, no, I don't know. And I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm not on Halo Twitter as much.
Okay.
Like I figured, like I think my Twitter is curated to people who don't spoil things anymore. So it's kind of like, oh, I really enjoyed the show, and then it's like that's it. And then with their hashtags and stuff like that. So I think I've curated a good community on my Twitter, which I've been a little bit more active on. So
nice.
yeah, but we're going to start the show a little bit differently. I'm going to ask, usually we would just go right into what did you like? But for the first episodes, I did want to start asking, what was your expectation coming into the show, Chris? Because I want to know like the lead up, what you do, like what you think. And then, as we go on, we'll see how your expectations and like what you thought was going to happen leads up to the actual series itself.
So I didn't watch the trailer at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I've always wanted as a kid. I remember Halo 2 was coming out and they mentioned, oh, we're gonna make a movie, and there was this fan, one of like the first like fan made clips.
They always teased us though, like perfectly teased us. Like they even gave us like little animate shows.
Yeah, exactly. They gave us
little,
shows, and they gave us one live action show, but it wasn't even like I think you see Master Chief's number, and I remember watching it, and it's like basically these kids in the academy, and
yeah, it was more of a world builder kind of show,
and he had exactly. So going into it, I wasn't expecting anything. Like that first 5 minutes of the show, I was like, okay, I'm full on in, and then the action started, and they set the tone by exploding somebody's head, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, here we go. Seeing from what the internet said, like I try to stay away from the rumors. Unfortunately, one of the rumors was a little bit true that I disagree with, but I'm sure a lot of people do. But I'm giving them a chance, man. At least we get some Halo to see. I think it's gonna go in a cool spot. But yeah, as for expectation, I had no expectations going in. I was just like, okay, I just want to see Halo. I want to see Master Chief. And I want to see some live action Spartans. And my big thing was the Covenant. Like I want to make sure. I was like, does the Covenant look great? And they look fantastic. So, or at least the elites and the Arbiter. Yeah. But
who we think is the Arbiter.
Who we think is the Arbiter. Yeah, I saw the chair and I'm like, whatever that race is, sure. Yeah. But yeah.
For me, going into this, I didn't watch, obviously I don't watch much trailers, but I did see the trailer to this one. And I will say my expectation went into levels, right? Because as a person who usually follows a lot of this stuff, like who's acting in it and stuff like that, I already know, and I've talked about this plenty of times on the show before. Like, I feel like if you're not going to show the character's face, then please just use the voice actor. Like, I don't understand. Like, that's something I wanted. And then when they said that Steve Downes wasn't going to do it, but the voice of Cortana was, I was kind of like, I don't like the where I think this is going to go, because I know exactly where this is going to go if they're not choosing Steve Dow. And once that happened, I was like, okay, I know the route they're going to try to take. So and my expectation was like they're going to show his face. And once that like kind of hit me in expectation wise, I was like, that's one of my expectations, is that we're going to see his face, and which is why they didn't get Steve Dow's. So that was one of my expectations going in. And then also, I didn't know what to expect from Paramount Plus, because like they really hadn't tackled any shows like this. I know they do a lot of Star Trek, which is usually practical art, not as much CGI and things like that. So I was kind of like, I wonder how they're going to make all these Spartans look, and how they're going to make the Covenant look, and how would all these things proceed. So my expectation in it was, I was kind of iffy. Then I saw the first trailer, the only trailer I saw, and then I was like, okay, this looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. Like, just from seeing that trailer itself, like how Master Chief looked, how the Spartans looked, how the Covenant looked, I was like, okay, this looks a lot better. I didn't think this would have looked the quality it did on the trailer. So my expectation wasn't, I was still kind of in the middle, because like I said, there was a lot of things going into the show that I was kind of like, I don't like that they kind of did, and it kind of like predicts where we're going to go. And then I was like, okay, obviously I'm going to watch it because I'm a huge Halo fan. I love the story, so I do want to watch, and I do want to see what's going on. So that was my expectation going in. So now, what did you think of the first episode?
First episode I did like a lot. I did like the fighting and everything, quite a bit. And they gave us our classic. I mean, even though it was a little cheesy whenever they went first person,
Yeah,
like when you see Chief, shoot a Covenant's head off, it looked very like
yeah.
very gamey right there.
Mhm.
But I was like,
But
okay,
I
this is
think
cool.
that was by design.
Yeah,
Like they did some shots in there that was 100% like by design. Like,
yeah.
and it's funny because that first 10 minutes of the of the episode was like, whoa. Like I did get, like, I'm not gonna lie, I even got goosebumps. Like that first 10 minutes, I was just like, bruh,
And I was all
this
over the
is
place too,
insane.
because I was
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, I was worried that like are Spartans the bad guy? Like, is this where
Mhm.
we're going? Stuff like that. And it was just kind of cool to see how the what is it, the UNSC?
Yeah.
Yeah, how untrustworthy they are, and seeing Chief or seeing Master Chief realize that, and he's trying to figure. He knows he's not being told everything, and that he is being used as a more like a weapon. Was pretty cool to see. Um, Also enjoyed the classic the sound effects. So
Oh, the sound effects was one of my favorite
whenever his
things.
shields dropped,
Yeah.
and then you hear the
Mhm.
poo, yeah, love
Yeah.
that. And then up to the where the elite use the camouflage,
Mhm.
and that was just great.
Yeah.
Loved it. And then also the other Spartans that were with him were pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So using that whole team and them going to, I assume they're gonna go hunt him down, but also I think they're gonna want to join him at the same time, and we'll see what happens with that. Um, Also, it was cool to see civilization not know what the Covenant was. So at first I was like, okay, are we seeing this for the first time? Is the Covenant for the first time? And they let you know off the rip. They're like, hey, we've been fighting these guys for years now, and we're still learning about them. But the people haven't the people on that planet have never seen it. They were just like, what's going on here? Like, why is this happening? So,
Mm.
and that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a love-hate relationship with this episode, and we'll get into why that is. I will say the first 10 minutes of the episode was probably everything I wanted in a
Mhm.
Halo TV show.
Yes.
I was like, okay, we're kind of, I mean, I don't need to do with the civilizations, which again, one of those things that worried me even in the beginning of the episode was one of those things where it's just like he's gonna have to carry this girl around, and like we already are going to get a more emotional Chief. And again, this is all first episode. I don't know where it's going, right? So, but just basing it off the first episode, I already saw like, okay, he's gonna have to carry this girl around. He's gonna have to do all these things, and That I didn't necessarily want because I feel like you need to establish that relationship with him and Cortana more than you need to establish that relationship with her. Now it is a TV show, so I know they have more time. So I'm not gonna like overreact and just be like, okay, I'm gonna drop it. But I would have liked to see the relationship with them a little bit more within that episode, just so that they can kind of have that thing going. And I know where we're at in the episode, Cortana's not a thing yet, but that that's where we're going. So um beginning of the episode was, like I said, was pretty good, dope. And then when the whole Covenant attacked, I was just like, okay, this is pretty amazing. And then when Chief came through, like when he just like dropped down and like he just like shows up, and I was like, okay, I got goosebumps as soon as he started running, and I was like, okay, this is this is why I wanted a Halo TV show. And that whole fight scene that they did within that first 20 minutes was just insane. Like it was cheesy, sure. The first person stuff, but those were nods to the game. The shield was a nod to the game. I did think that at some points the CGI did look a little bit off, but also I'm not going to fault them for that because it is a TV show and you're trying to replicate literally a video game
Yeah.
so I can understand how some of the things might look, but I think they did a really good job at making it feel like Halo.
Yeah, I had
You know what I mean?
the only issue I had with the fighting scene was you see that those people, that village or that town, they're prepping, and they all have, the machine guns and stuff, and they're sitting there. And when the elite come through, they made them like invincible. Like
Yeah.
they're shooting them, they're mowing them down, like they're sitting there unloading on these guys, and they're walking through, and nothing happens. And I'm like, okay, so these bullets don't work. Okay, Chief comes in, starts destroying him, and then Chief picks up, does the classic, like, you go to the
Yeah.
Warhog, break the gunner, and you start walking. So he takes it, and dude, the bullets start flying through him.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's
Well,
going? But
yeah.
like I said, I was like, I'm letting a lot of stuff pass because this is
Mhm.
the most Halo like Master Chief that we've gotten in a TV show. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go for the ride and just have fun with it and just watch, Chief beat up a couple guys,
Yeah.
and go through that.
Yeah, for sure that like I said, the fighting, and then this is where the episode starts to take the down cliff. Listen, and of course this is going to be biased. I understand. It's completely, but again, you've gotten people like me who has played Halo for 20 years at this point. Okay. You cannot expect us to be ready or accept a new voice for Master Chief.
Yep.
I'm sorry. The voice, it's just, and again, it is a biased, it is unfair, but again, my brain tells me how Master Chief is supposed to sound because I have been listening to the same person play that person for 20 years, for almost 20 to 30 years, right? So like just hearing someone else play Master Chief, it's a bit unnerving for me. Like I still have to get used to it. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it because honestly, I just feel like we got spoiled and Steve Dowles is just the perfect Master Chief. He's the perfect person to play that character. He's the perfect voice for that character. So it would be like, what I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to like just having someone else play that voice. It just I don't it kind of threw me off. So all of the talking scenes with Chief was definitely took some time to get used to because again, listening to the same guy for 20 years, him doing like you expect a voice because I will say the costume, the armor looks fantastic. Like it looks just like Master Chief. It's really clear with the 117, like all that stuff that the detail of Master Chief is all there. Like the costume, it looks like him. And I think because it looks so much like him, you still expect that voice that we've been hearing for so long. And then when another voice comes out of it, you're kind of like, eh. I don't know if you had that feeling like
No,
I
I
did.
did. And then another one was Captain Keyes' daughter
Mhm.
being so young. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that was an
cool.
interesting
We'll
take
go
too.
with this. All right. And then
I think
uh
they did that though just to make her more relatable with the with what's her name? This
Ha,
character. It starts with a K.
does it
Well,
start
yeah,
Khan?
it's
Not
like
Khan.
yeah.
No, it's
I apologize, but I did forget her name. But I think it's just to make them a little bit more closer in age for relatability.
yeah.
But I also think that you can make her still have that, oh, well, you're too young to do this, or like you haven't understood, like you haven't experienced this much time. And I think you also do it for the simple fact that you want people to be able to, you don't know how long this show is going to go, right?
Mhm.
So I think casting younger talent is just something that you do so just in case you need them to step up and do 2 or 3 more seasons. You know what I mean? You never know when you're going to shoot some of these other episodes. So I think that's what their thought process was behind it.
Yeah, man. Also, um, how quickly the UNSC, like, they show how much of a jerk all those people are, man.
Yeah.
Crazy quick. Halsey is not shying away that she's like doing her own thing. You got the director that's just like, kill everybody, I don't care, just hide everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then Captain Keys comes up and he's like, we got to do what we got to do. And I'm like, what's going on?
Why is this like this?
Yeah, I'm like, you guys are pretty straightforward, but you guys are all coming at different angles. That like, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll ride with this. The whole scene of the whole oxygen scene of everything taking control and everything like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is it was cool to see, but I just felt like I don't know how many. Do you know how many episodes this is gonna be? This
I'm not sure. I want to say I'm gonna assume we're gonna be anywhere from the 7 to 10 range, just because that's like the new norm.
Yeah,
especially for stuff like this. So
how quick this episode went, like how rapid the story was. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 6. Like it was very quick for the turn, and I get it. They're just trying to kickstart the story and everything like that. But yeah, man, I feel like we didn't get. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like we didn't get enough of Chief and the army, like together, like that story. But again, fans know the story already, so they just want to see what's next, or what this approach is coming to.
Well, that's the thing though. So like I think that's another thing that's going to hurt this show is because I don't know exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, yeah, that's great because then you get to tell a new story or whatever the case may be. But like, what is your continuity, right? Like, are you continuity with the games, like, you know what I mean, or everything else, or are you just starting your new lore, right? Which is what my fear is, and I think that's where the approach they're taking, and I think that's a mistake on the simple fact that like right now, right, just by like all the things that have already happened in this episode, and the way that I'm looking at it, it very much feels like the Mandalorian, right? And I feel like we're already going down that path. And I just don't like that we've already made Chief a vigilante, especially in episode 1, right? Because now we're going to just spend a whole season with him being chased.
Yeah.
Right? He's either going to be being chased or he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to like, well, we need him to fight the Covenant. So this is going to happen. Right. And I don't know if I like that either one of those storylines, right? Like for me personally, I just think that's very like the whole thing of him like flying around with this person, it's going to feel very much like Mandalorian to me. Like, you know what I mean? Without all the extra, I feel like they are trying to go down that path, right? But they did do something that was a little bit different than, you know, the TV show and stuff like that. So like I said, I do appreciate all of the Easter eggs and stuff like that they put in, like the sound effects, the banshees and stuff like that. But I don't like, and my biggest gripe is coming up is obviously they did reveal Master Chief, and it feels like they're going to have his helmet off way more than I want. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a very I just feel like it's too fast, even if you wanted to do it, right? And obviously I just compared this to Mandalorian, but like even if you wanted to do it, why would you do it to a person like he just met? Like, you know what I mean? Like he just met this person, he's rethinking about his like life, and I guess you can make it to like, okay, well, I guess like he's feeling more humanistic now, but also like you just made him a this like robot. Then he touched the stone, and then it's like, oh well, now I'm going to go against everything I saw in the past, but also I'm going to show you who I am. Like, and then now it's just like, do I really want to watch a Halo show where I'm looking at Master Chief's face?
The thing is too is that they took away, like, it was years of build up. I remember playing the first game and then the second game and the third game thinking like, do you think we're finally going to see his face? They always teased it. You see him take off his helmet and put it next to him. Never saw him. I think we see his eyes one time and it was like pale. And how quick, like the fact that they did it in episode 1, right? And there's no like, it was no build up or anything like that. It was just a simple thing for them. And I was just like, man, this was years of waiting and waiting and waiting. People have been wanting this. And also at the same time, like, I was just like, I don't need to see his face. That was just one character that was like, we don't need to do this. And if we do this, I'd rather have it in the video games.
That's what I was about to get to. So my thing is, I just felt like it wasn't their place to show his face.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like it was like the TV show's place to be like, okay, we're going to show his face, because like you're taking something away from what the game could have potentially did, but they're also showing you that we don't need to do that. And this whole narrative that you have to show like characters' faces in order to express emotion, we've already proved that that's bull. Like, we've seen it done plenty of times now where we don't necessarily need to see a character's face in order for them to show emotion. We saw it literally with the whole season of Mandalorian. We saw a whole season of Mandalorian, literally the same format, where he is a character who doesn't show his face, but you still knew all the expressions that he was having. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that happened in, there's many other, V for Vendetta, one of my favorite movies of all time. Never has to show his face, but he expresses himself exactly the way it needs to be done. And I feel like because you want to show his face more, you took away one of Halo's main assets, which is his voice, which is Steve Dow's. Like, I know I don't want to keep like coming back to that, but I feel like you've taken such a major part of a character that you didn't have to, right? Because that moment of you showing his face, how much is that going to impact the rest of the series?
Yep.
Right? Like, how much of that is really going to be what people actually want and care for? Like, you know what I mean? If I feel, and I honestly feel this way, I feel if you polled the people who wanted to watch this show, how many people, hey, would you have preferred to not see Master Chief's face and still get Steve Dow's, or see Master Chief's face and not get Steve Dow's? I'm sure Steve Dow's wins. And I also, like, I get it. You want to make it for the casual audience. I understand that. But I just think it is like overrated at this point, to that you have to show characters' face in order for them to express emotion. I just think it's not necessary anymore. I think we've passed that point. I think voice acting is at a premium now. We're at such a high level of how many great voice actors there are, and how easier it is to voice act, like as far as getting that like information out itself. I just feel like we didn't have to do with the Master Chief face. And I agree with you 100%. I just don't feel like it was Paramount Plus is like, I just feel like it wasn't their thing to do.
It's not theirs.
It's not like, you know what I mean? So I complete, like, so that's when, like I said, the series was doing great, and then that stuff started to happen, and I was like, no. And then when I watched it happen, I was like, we're not, no. And then like I just had such a bad taste at the end of this episode, because it was just everything I didn't want. Like, we went from like yes until getting to like what I felt about that. And I mean, like I said, I'm not going to give up on the show. I'm still going to see where it goes from there. But I am going into episode 2 with a little more tempered of expectations. Obviously, I know that they can perform good fight scenes. I know that the action scenes are going to be good. So that's something to look forward to. I just don't feel like I'm going to get that Master Chief story. Not that I needed it from a TV show, which has always been one of my biggest things about video game adaptations. I feel like we necessarily, I feel like they use video game adaptations in the wrong way in general. I feel like video adaptations should just be the same game that you're trying to push or wanting people to see in another medium. I feel like a lot of directors and a lot of screenwriters, they try to change too much from the video game and it ends up always failing.
Yeah.
Always. Like, so I just feel like you, once you divert too much from a story that people have already said that was fantastic, that they've already said that are good, and then you kind of, in a sense, you hurt those games in the sense that people are like, well, if the game is like this, I'm not gonna ever play it. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But that's how I felt about that. So it was a very up and down episode. For me, I felt like I said, I think they did a lot of good things. But the for me, it left a sad taste in my like it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm like I said, going into episode 2, I'm gonna be open minded, but I am a little hurt by the end of that, like the last half of that, like the
Yeah.
last quarter of that episode. So, what did you think about the whole reveal and everything like that?
Whole reveal, like I said, I did not like it. Whenever it
Mhm.
happened, cool, I get it. Like you had that moment, but like they didn't need to do it. And if they were gonna do it, it was so anticlimactic for us that I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, now it's
but there was
waste.
just no
This,
meaning to it though either.
yeah,
Like it was just kind of like they tried to set it up to where it was like this whole scene where, oh, you're showing you're human, like, oh, I'm gonna you like kill me, like, you know what I mean, you're gonna have to shoot this, but it's still kind of like, bro, come on, man, like it's Master Chief. We don't need that level. We
yeah.
just need him to be Master Chief. Like I'm pretty sure people would have just accepted a show of Halo 1 and just all the action scenes of Halo 1 for 10
Also,
episodes.
I didn't get to mention it earlier. I was gonna say when that camouflage elite runs away,
Yeah.
bro, that Banshee
He
was hauling ass.
he took
Oh
off.
my god, because
The
he
startup
he
has
went
never
over the
been
hill,
faster.
and then all I saw
Yeah.
was, and I was like, whoa,
The
whoa.
startup has never been faster in a Banshee because anytime you get in a Banshee in the game, you have to go dive in. And it takes a sweet time to get in there. So, yeah, there you go. You come back now. Nope. So, yeah, we're having some audio issues. We're going to get our final thoughts once Chris comes back so that we could,
Check. There we go.
there we go. So,
Hey, yeah. My audio's messing up, guys. I apologize.
It's all right. We're good. We're still making it through.
It's gonna be a little bit of a choppy episode for video, but it'll be all right. We'll edit it. You guys will know what's going on, and I'll fix it later. But yeah,
he jumped in that thing real quick and he was out. He was like, "Zeal," and I was like, wait a minute, the Banshee has never moved that quick before.
That's
Like
all
it
I'm
takes your
saying.
whole body to get in. You have to do like this whole startup and then you're finally out. So, but it is what it is. Like I said, there's a lot of things I've enjoyed. I just felt like the things I didn't enjoy about the episode, like it just kind of took away from the premise of Halo. And that's what I always say. Like, I don't mind when you make changes. I do mind when you take away the premise of the character. I just feel like this is not Master Chief anymore. I feel
Mhm.
like he's like, I know you're trying to make this emotional character, but it's not about it was never about Chief being emotional or like trying to find himself. Like, you know what I mean? He knew what he was the whole time and he knew what he had to take care of. And then there was a person he cared about. We'll see what happens when when we get there. But we'll see. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said,
that's all we can
first
do is wait and see.
yeah, all we can do is wait and see. So, Chris, hit us with your final thoughts of the episode.
Final thoughts, man. Hopefully it gets better.
Mhm.
They ripped off that band-aid, so I don't know what else they could do to disappoint.
Oh, there's more. There's more.
I mean,
There's-
they can really mess up Cortana and his relationship, and
Yeah.
we'll be like, "What the hell?" So
Yeah.
we'll see from there. Yeah, man, that's it. And then as for my favorite part, I'll go ahead and mention that now. Probably that battle scene.
Yeah, the battle scene.
The
The
battle
first 10
scene was
minutes of
dope.
fantastic.
Yep.
I'll agree with that. My final thoughts is pretty much like I said. Everything costume wise, visually, they did have some moments where it looked a little bit off. But overall, visually, I thought it looked really good. Also, Paramount fix your streaming, by the way, because I was getting some choppy reads. that I wasn't supposed to be getting. Like,
Mine
I
was
don't know what
clean.
happened. Yeah, no, it got clean later on, but like it was like much like 15 minute. Like I had to rewatch the battle scene, but
Oh wow.
it is what it is. Like I said, it looked great. My only issues, like I said, were all story related. Actually, it was nothing to do visually, which is what I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be the opposite
Yeah, because
way.
I said I did say because somebody asked me
Yeah,
how it was, and I was like, visually, it's everything I want.
yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't think I thought going in that I would have felt it be the other way. I thought we were going to get the story be really strong and then get like really bad visuals, but instead we got good really good visuals, and it's the story I have an issue with. So
yeah.
my favorite part again, fighting scene 2. So we'll see what next week has in store for us. But we'll definitely be here to give you guys episode 2. Next week we're also gonna have Moon Knight for you guys on one of those days next week. So we should be dropping. You're probably gonna get like 3 videos from us on debrief next week because we have Moon Knight, we have this, and then Morbius comes out. So
Yeah.
there's good stuff on the horizon, guys. If you like the content, please hit the like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let people know. And if you guys want to be a guest, if you want to come talk about some Halo with us, come on, join us. I mean, like I said, we have 3 things we're about to talk about. So come join us. We'll love to have you guys. I know, we had Richard and we had Kyle the other couple
Thank
weeks.
you for
So
filling in, by the way,
of
guys. Thank you
course,
so much. Yeah.
exactly. So the shout out. So if you guys want to talk about some stuff, just let us know. But until then, we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Until then, Fire Team